I'm yours. With you. I'm yours.
I forgot that I was even off. What's going on? Good morning. It is Monday morning, January 9th, 2023. We are back with another edition of Conversations with Kenny, where we do these things mostly almost every morning. We are live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said before, it's just me shooting the shit with everybody else here. If you decided that you're watching the live version of this, welcome. If you're watching the recorded version of this, welcome once again, and thank you for tuning in. What a weekend of wrestling that we had. It felt like for a good while we didn't have anything to really talk about. Everyone was talking about Bianca Belair. Well, not Bianca, but Bianca Belair too. But we were talking about Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Money, as people are calling her now. And then we got the big news that Vince McMahon was returning back to wrestling in some capacity. So that is the first thing that we're going to get into right now. It is talking about Vince McMahon. We got the news on January 6th that Vince McMahon was going to reinstate himself back into creative control at WWE. Well, not creative control in general, but he was going to reinstate himself back into the WWE board in order to help out the WWE sell the company and their media and TV rights. Now, I have to say this, where it was so many people. I was just reading tweet after tweet after tweet, watching different videos. The guys over at the Running Podcast did a little video really quickly about Vince McMahon and what this is going to entail as far as Vince returning to WWE and what capacity he was going to be returning in. Now, from the reports that we read, you know, they were online from like Fightful and from different media sources. Vince McMahon is only coming back in a capacity way is to sell the company and sell the media rights. He felt that him being a presence for the company was going to benefit not only himself, but to also benefit the company in general. Everybody was up in arms as far as like having Vince McMahon back. A lot of talent was reaching out to their like media sources to find out exactly what was going on or to give their opinions on what was going on as far as like their feelings of Vince McMahon coming back. I know there were reports of people saying that it was good while it lasted. It was good, you know, it was a fun time, because people feel that just because Vince McMahon is saying that he is, just wanted to stop by and show some love. The guys from the KOD show, what's going on, guys? Thanks for stopping in and showing some love. You know, a lot of people were nervous. They were wondering whether or not is this going to be the only thing that Vince McMahon is going to do, right? And you know, for a lot of wrestling fans, we all thought the same thing too. But you know, if you look at like past shows of like, you know, us talking over on the Knuckleheads Network, this was something that we talked about time and time again, where we said, you know, just because Vince McMahon said he's going to retire, does he really mean that he was going to retire? Is he just taking some time off just to let this smoke go over, right? And sure enough, we were right. Vince McMahon decided to come back, and he even said it. He said that he took some bad advice as far as like retiring or how to proceed with the allegations of the sexual misconducts that were going on in WWE, and that he was going to reinstate himself. Now, he did say that he wasn't going to be a part of creative. We would not see him in the gorilla position, but come on now. We already predicted that he was going to come back in some type of form, right? That he wasn't going to fully retire from WWE. And now everyone is saying, well, he's only selling the company or helping to sell the company. But how long is that going to last before he decides to reinstate himself back into creative? We've already seen reports that Triple H is not happy with some of the callbacks that were made in WWE. Obviously, we can think of a couple of names that have returned back to WWE that haven't made the best of their returns. Let's see. Off the top of my head, I would definitely say Hit Row is one team that in the beginning when they first decided they were going to bring Hit Row back. I said that this might be a good thing. Let's see how they do without Swerve, and it just proves to us that, like, hey, I think you guys do need Swerve in order to make yourselves a good stable. Swerve proved that he was the bigger star of the group. Don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of Top Dollar, but lately, a lot of the things that this group has been doing has been really cringeworthy, right? Karrion Kross was another one that I was really big on saying to myself, I said, you know what? Karrion Kross could be that guy that is going to make a different change. Once returning, he had the new look. He had the same look. He had a new hairstyle. He brung Scarlett back with him, and big things was going to happen for Karrion Kross, especially the way he made his return back. And then they kind of just shitted the bed with that one too. And now we just kind of we don't know where Karrion Kross is going to end up now on this SmackDown roster. Another big person for me was a letdown was oh my god, what is this guy's name? Is off the tip of my tongue. He just did he just did some stuff with the Miz, and now you don't even know where he is. Like, these are things that I'm talking about, and eventually Vince is just gonna say, like, you know what, I'm gonna step in to help out creative and see what happens from there. But from the most parts of what I'm reading, it looks like we're not even gonna have Vince McMahon that long here anyway. Viacom and Netflix, Disney, Amazon Prime, they're all in the runnings right now trying to bid on the WWE stock. I know that they were saying before, like, once they made the announcement that Vince McMahon was going to come back, that the stock went up. And it wasn't due to Vince McMahon. In my opinion, it wasn't due to Vince McMahon coming back into the company, but it was more on the lines of they know that a potential sell is going to come, in the next couple of months. So everybody wants to try and get in on this now rather than wait until later on where they can't get themselves into this stuff here. I'm just trying to get some stuff going because I'm only one person trying to get this done my whole entire stuff. So give me some time here. Let's do that. Let's flip this over. So I'm very curious as to see what's going to happen with this too. The guys over at the KOD said, yeah, Hit Row, definitely missing Swerve on that one. Let's go into some other news here. Seeing this, which was really interesting, where Ronda Rousey was saying that she's done with Charlotte Flair. She is not really happy. Do you mean Johnny Gargano? No. So Johnny Gargano's another one too, Daniel, where I can say this. So let's skip Ronda Rousey. Let's go back because Daniel brought up a good point, brought up a good name, Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano is another person who was brought back to WWE and you don't really hear anything from him anymore. He helped out Dexter Loomis. That's who I was referring to, Daniel. He helped out Dexter Loomis in the whole Miz fiasco that was going on, and now you don't see Dexter Loomis and you don't see Johnny Gargano. I don't even see Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae was another one too that she was brought back in from WWE, and she had a good couple of matches. They tried to put her into some storylines, and now you just don't see um you don't see her on TV. You don't see Johnny Gargano on TV. The Miz and Dexter Loomis had a somewhat good storyline going for a good while, and then Bronson Reed came in to help out the Miz, and that was it. We have not heard from this about this storyline in what, like 2 weeks now, 2 3 weeks now. Dexter Loomis ended up wrestling Chad Gable a few weeks back, which made absolutely no sense at all. We don't even know what Bronson Reed is. Bronson Reed came in, and as quickly as he came in, he went right back out again into God knows where. We have not seen him on TV since his debut. There is no mention of Bronson Reed. There is no mention of Dexter Loomis being attacked by Bronson Reed. There is no mention of Johnny Gargano at all. So this is why I say that with Vince McMahon coming back to the board of directors spot, right? It's only a matter of time before we see Vince McMahon going into a creative role back, because he's gonna sit there and say, like, you know, with my help, I can see us getting those ratings back. Daniel says Vince will call the entire roster out onto the stage and start firing people like Oprah hands out cars. You get a firing and you get a firing. You know what, Daniel? I can see that happening where Vince is gonna get to a point where he's gonna get frustrated. And this is why he was at home just probably fuming at the fact that he couldn't get back into the company, because this is not the first attempt that he tried. He tried like a month ago, where like maybe like a month or two ago, where he said he was going to come back. He got some bad advice. He thinks he could change things around. And there was just, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H, and some other people who are a part of the board of directors in WWE said that right now, for the investors' sake, it's not good for Vince McMahon to come back. And he listened for a while, and then he goes and he's just like, you know what? Forget this. If you guys are not gonna put me back and give me back my seat, then I'm not gonna approve any deals. And I think that was the mistake. One of the mistakes that they made was that they still had him with so much power with the company that it was gonna let something like this happen. And now look at the situation that WWE's in, where you're kind of sitting there wondering to yourself, like, is this man going to change his mind and come back to creative? Daniel says Shane's probably sitting back thinking, my family puts the fun in dysfunctional. Yeah, like Shane McMahon and Linda McMahon, like they're like the only two McMahons who like you don't really hear from anymore. Obviously Linda is all about politics, so she's, trying to get her hands into different things when it comes to like the politic world, where like, like the White House and the government and all this other stuff. And then you have Shane, who's, I don't know what Shane is doing. The last time I heard about Shane McMahon, he was doing some stuff overseas, and now he is probably somewhere doing some business deals, hanging out, chilling, and exactly what Daniel said, just sitting back, watching his family just go to shit, Let's get into some more news here. So I saw this, which was really interesting, where Ronda Rousey aims at going after the women's tag team titles. Obviously, we've seen her go back with Shayna Baszler in box. Going back with Shayna Baszler, talking about becoming a tag team. I actually thought that at some time, that they were actually going to make Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey a tag team and see whether or not these two can actually do something with the women's tag team titles. Obviously, right now, the women's tag team titles they're not doing much with them. I was just I was in a group chat where they were talking about the women's tag team titles in NXT, and I truly forgot that they even had a tag team titles in NXT because you basically don't hear much from them at all. Oh boy, please don't. But yeah, but this is BCW Worldwide is saying, oh boy, please don't. But yeah, but this is what, if this is true from that I was reading on Twitter, where she's just like, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of tired of Charlotte. I'm tired of the title. I already did it. I am. I'm thinking over I'm taking over the tag division now. We already seen how Ronda Rousey is when it comes to being a champion. I've said it time and time again. I don't think Ronda Rousey wants to be in WWE. I don't really think that she is fully invested in um, being a WWE superstar. I think she's all about the money, which is nothing wrong, with getting your money. And a lot of people say the same thing that I say, where they're just like, Ronda Rousey is horrible. Yeah, she's definitely in it for the paycheck. And, BCW said the same thing too, where she's pretty much in it for the paycheck. I think keeping her with Shayna Baszler, it's actually going to hold Shayna Baszler back in a way, because you can definitely tell that Shayna Baszler is all about WWE or just being in the wrestling world in general. If WWE doesn't do something quickly with Shayna Baszler, I can definitely see her leaving and going someplace else. I know Marina Shafir went to AEW and she's not doing anything. I would kind of like to see it reversed, where we kind of get to see Marina Shafir go back to WWE, let her team up with Ronda Rousey, and let's get Shayna Baszler into AEW, where she can absolutely kill it with the women's division that's there now and help improve that women's division in AEW. Right. So BCW Shayna needs to be pushed on her own, which is true. I've said that time and time again, where I think Shayna Baszler needs to have that singles push. And, when she had that storyline with Liv Morgan, I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, why haven't they put the title on Shayna Baszler? You know what I mean? You gave the title back to Ronda Rousey, where you could have given it to Shayna Baszler and made her into the legit star that she is. Because when she was in NXT, and I hate to go back to like, hey, when she was in NXT, but when she was in NXT, she was a dominant force in the women's division. And then I had so much high hopes for her when it came to the main roster, and they didn't know what to do with her. They kind of just felt like, you know what, we have Ronda Rousey, we have already a legit badass. Why do we need to really do much with another one, where you have this star in Shayna Baszler who can actually do more than Ronda Rousey? It's kind of like AEW has done with Britt and Jamie. Yeah, it's true. It's the exact same way, except that, not for nothing, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter are a whole lot more entertaining than watching Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey together as a tag team. Daniel says, I get that they were wanting to bring eyes to the product by bringing in Rousey, but I was just never into her being there. Her whole WWE experience has been awkward. Yeah. And it's so true, because like Daniel said, it was really awkward to watch, Ronda Rousey in a WWE ring. Because don't get me wrong, like when Ronda Rousey first came to WWE, it was great. I was super excited to see Ronda Rousey in a WWE ring. I thought she had some really great moments, especially, teaming up with Kurt Angle, having the little exchange in the ring with like Hunter and Stephanie when The Rock was at WrestleMania. The storyline that went through for the women's triple threat match for WrestleMania, I thought that was really good too. But just like everyone else says, her promo skills are lackluster. Her fighting ability looks like it legit hurts when you're in the ring with her, you know? So to have this going on now, um, you know, when she announced that she was going to be, she was having a baby and she was going to take some time off. Not only was I happy for her because she was going to finally be a mom, but I was so happy with the fact that we was not going to have Ronda Rousey on our TV for that much longer. And sure enough, they bring her back very quickly to face Charlotte Flair, really, you know, in WrestleMania. And now we still have her as champion. Well, we don't have her as champion right now. Sorry about that. Um, we have her trying to go back into a storyline with Charlotte Flair. Obviously, just because she said she doesn't want to be in a storyline with Charlotte Flair doesn't mean that we're not going to see this down the line. Remember, we still have Royal Rumble to deal with, and then we have Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania all in mind. BCW says you sound like Francis from the round. Really? Same mindset. What? Oh man. So all right. So BCW says that I sound like Francis from the Roundtable podcast. I have the same mindset. Oh, bad blood. Okay. So what BCW? What are your thoughts on Ronda Rousey? We'll throw it up on the screen here, and we can talk a little bit about that too. But you kind of agree to say they were lackluster and everything else. I want to see what's going to happen next with Ronda Rousey. Let's see. Could this be something great? I want to see what's going on next. With that, you know, moving forward, the women's division in WWE is one of the best women's division in our top. She needs to allow others who want to be workers too. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think she does need to allow these people that she wants to work with to actually work in the ring so you can have those good opponents, so you can have those good dance partners. Because when you have a good dance partner, it makes really great TV. You know what I mean? And you know, you think about it like this, like WWE and in a whole, they're not just a wrestling company. They've pride themselves in saying that they're not a wrestling company. They're an entertainment company, you know? And like I always say, it's like if you want to sit there and be a superstar, you go to WWE. You want to be a wrestler, you go to AEW and to all the other promotions. I'm gonna go back to the chats here. BCW says stop trying to control the division. She's preventing amazing matches and matchups from happening, which is true because there's so many other people in the women's division that you don't see them on a daily basis because they want to continue to have these stars come in and only be in the ring. Um, we just saw Charlotte Flair taking on another opponent that she's always been you know, taking on like time in and time again. But where's everybody else? Where's Shotzi? Where's Liv Morgan? Where is you know, the 1,001 women that you have going into the SmackDown division? You know what, I really want to see, and I'm gonna just type this in really quickly for like the WWE roster because off the top of my head, I'm not too sure who everyone like superstar wise who is on the SmackDown roster here. I hate when this happens here. So let's go in. Let's go into this here. I know you can categorize this thing by SmackDown. So let me share my screen. With Vince coming back, it's just going to be back to the way it was 30 years ago. I mean, I want to see whether or not if our predictions are true when it comes to WWE um, and Vince. I mean, we talked about this before, so let's just hope for the best. So let's look at the women's roster for SmackDown. You have Aaliyah. We haven't seen anything from her yet. I know she's been injured, so we haven't heard much from her until she decides to come back. B Fab is another person that, not for nothing, lackluster. She hasn't done anything in WWE since coming back to to the roster itself. Charlotte Flair obviously is your SmackDown Women's Champion. Emma has been back for what, a month and a half now. Hasn't done anything much with her career in WWE except teaming up with her boyfriend to take on Karrion Kross and Scarlett, right? Who else do we got here? We have Lacey Evans, who has been changing her character every month since she's been back in the WWE. I don't know about you guys. I said it last week. I'm so tired of these vignettes and these promos that they have for Lacey Evans. It's either you're going to stick to one character and one mind frame. Are you a babyface? Are you a heel? And just run with the ball. Because right now, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'm just getting tired of Lacey Evans. Liv Morgan, she's been in and out of the title picture. She was, she's running around right now with oh my god, let's see, get her name here really quickly as I go through this. I know she's a part of this roster with Tegan Knox. So she's been running around with Tegan Knox for a good while now. I don't know what the end game is as far as like her and Tegan Knox. Are they gonna go for the tag team titles? Are they not gonna go for the tag team titles? Only time with Maxine Dupree, she's not wrestling at all. They still got, you know what? And this is something that I brought up this morning on Instagram, where I was just like, are we gonna see Naomi in the Rumble? Right? Yeah, so Naomi is still, see, BCW, so he looked at it and he's just like, wait a minute, Naomi, question mark, question mark, question mark. Is she still a part of the roster? Yes. Natty, I didn't even know. I thought Natty was a part of Raw. And that's the crazy thing, too, that I thought she was going to be a part of Raw. And I'm just going back to the comments here. Charlotte versus Raquel. Charlotte versus Mia Yim. I can see that. New matches. No Aaliyah. Oh, God, no. Emma, yes. 2 months. No, please, no. Tegan Knox, Naomi, Natty, Me Too. That was all from BCW World. But let's talk about Naomi, right? Because we're looking at the SmackDown Women's roster right now, and we see Naomi is still on this roster. Right. Since leaving Raw, we have not heard from Naomi at all. We've only heard things about Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné, now to everyone else in the independence world. But so many people say that, oh well, Naomi's happy. Naomi is in a good space right now, which is great. It's great to hear that. But what is this helping her leaving with Sasha Banks and dropping the tag team titles? What did that actually do for Naomi? I've seen so much going on for Sasha Banks that I did not see anything for Naomi. If somebody could please explain this to me, or give me the positives besides her mental health being intact when she decided to step away from WWE. Somebody needs to explain to me as to what exactly did Naomi benefit from this when she decided to leave and join Sasha Banks in the unity movement of just dropping the tag team titles and walking away from WWE. Because guess what? Since leaving WWE, Sasha Banks has done more on her free time that I've seen Naomi. Now, granted, she did take Naomi with her to a couple of events. They did a couple of Comic-Cons before. They did some fashion stuff for like New York and LA Fashion Week. I seen Naomi in a couple of magazines, which is great. But career-wise, wrestling-wise, what has Naomi done? She still is a part of the WWE roster. Sasha Banks is not. Sasha Banks just got herself a title match over at New Japan Pro Wrestling Stardom, where Naomi is still sitting on the bench. Now, here's what I want to see from Naomi. I would love to see her back in a WWE ring and to prove herself in this ring with this current roster that we have now. I wouldn't put her on Raw. Leave her on SmackDown. Let her build herself up in this women's division. I can see Naomi coming into the Royal Rumble. That's why I left that post out there this morning where I was just like, Royal Rumble, ? Because I want to see if she's going to come out. Now, obviously, last year we seen Sasha Banks come in at number 1 for the Royal Rumble. I will hate to see Naomi come back as number 1, but I think that the pop that she would get from the WWE audience or the WWE universe will be amazing. Sorry about that. Old guys over on TikTok right now. I had to take a quick call. But let's go back to this roster here. So we got Natty, who is a part of the SmackDown roster. They still got Pat McAfee on here, which is crazy because he did step away for some time. So it looks like he's still a part of the company. Raquel Gonzalez, who's been, not for nothing, Raquel Gonzalez has been killing it in WWE. I know I said like weeks back where I was, talking on the Knuckleheads Network where I said like, I think that her online presence needs to change in order for her to continue being a legit badass. Because I don't know whether or not you want to continue having her as a heel or making her a face in the SmackDown roster. But I think if you're going to keep her as a face, then let her continue doing what she's doing. She's been doing great. You got Ronda Rousey on here. Samantha Ivory, she's the ring announcer, right? Scarlett, she just started wrestling now for WWE, mostly, and then before that, she was just doing a lot of valet work for the WWE itself. Not for nothing, I'm not a big fan of Scarlett being a wrestler. I've seen her in the independents wrestling before, not the best, and I think this is why they keep her in a tag team capacity when it comes to trying to get her to wrestle. I know she's done a couple of house shows for WWE. This is why they started bringing the whole Karrion Kross and Big Cat Moss storyline between these two, and they like brung her involved. Shayna Baszler is a part of the women's SmackDown roster. Why do they even have Stephanie McMahon as part of the roster for SmackDown when she's not even an active wrestler? Sonya Deville, we just seen her last week on Friday taking on Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Championship. Shotzi Blackheart is a part of the SmackDown SmackDown roster. Tegan Nox. I truly forgot that she was a part of the roster here, and they barely use her. Selena Vega runs out the SmackDown women's roster. So you've seen how the roster itself for SmackDown is so small where like, you want to sit there and build up this company, especially with Fox being the majority shareholders. They do make a lot of decisions when it comes to SmackDown. And then you look at Raw, we got Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Carmella, which is she's still out with injury, Dakota Kai, Dana Brooke, Doudrop, who's out on injury, Io Sky, Mia Yim, Nikki Cross. I mean, they have an all-star team of women in their roster. Rhea Ripley, Tamina, they all round out for the SmackDown and Raw women's division. And this is why I say to myself, I'm like, what does the women of WWE need to do in order to improve themselves to come up more? That is my wrestling talk for now. Let's go into something else. We finally got the wild card matchups for the NFL. If you guys are like me, I do follow football. I do watch other stuff besides wrestling. This past weekend, we've seen a lot of matchups in football. I'm going to share my screens. I want to get into the scores from over the weekend. If you guys could take a look at that here.
Tickets on Vivid Seats, you get the 11th
Okay,
ticket free.
no.
I wonder what my 11th will be.
Shut up, lady. We don't want that. Because then you get that copyright. That's all we need. I don't know if you guys can see that here. I'm gonna go over this here. So let's go over the scores. Obviously, we already knew the Chiefs is gonna win against the Raiders. They beat the Raiders 31-13. Jaguars beating the Titans 20-16. I seen Tony Khan out there hugging some of the Jaguar players, and I joked around with a couple of people that I know, and I said, there goes that Tony Khan hug once again. But this was like, not for nothing, I think this was like the first time I ever seen Tony Khan hug another black person in some type of capacity, because I always say Tony Khan has a thing with black people. I just don't see him meshing well with them. I have my takes on that. The Atlanta Falcons decided that they actually wanted to come play football. They took on Tom Brady and the Bucks, and they beat Tom Brady and the Bucks 30-17. This is the first time in weeks that I've seen the Atlanta Falcons actually have a high scoring game. I should have betted money on the Atlanta Falcons, but I ended up going with Tom Brady. I thought Tom Brady was going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, but obviously he did not. The Bills took on the Patriots, and they beat the Patriots 35-23. The Bills were at home, and they did something that I thought was storybook to continue on to their road to the Super Bowl, where the start of the game, they got the opening kick and they ran straight for a touchdown. It was storybook, especially with everything that was going on with their falling player and him trying to get back, into the swing of things. Hopefully we'll see him in the new season, or at least hear some updates about him going into the Bills' upcoming season once this whole NFL thing is done. The Vikings took on the Bears. The Vikings beat the Bears 29-13. The Bengals beat the Ravens 27-16. Texans and Colts actually had a really good game, but Texans walked away with the victory on that one, 32-31. Oh boy. This was a game that you kind of turned to it and you said to yourself, I'm only watching this because my fantasy football team players is on the line. The Dolphins beat the Jets 11-6. The Panthers beat the Saints 10-7. Steelers coming away with the victory, which may absolutely make no sense taking on the Browns. They beat the Browns 28-14. The Broncos surprisingly beat the Chargers 31-28. We already knew that the Giants and the Eagles were not going to be the best game that we were going to see from the Giants, because they were sitting down all of their starters to get them ready for the playoffs. So the Eagles won 22-16. The backup team of the New York Giants actually looked impressive. Even their third string quarterback looked impressive as he went in for a touchdown. The 49ers took on the Cardinals. I say this time and time again, watching HBO's Hard Knocks, I felt for the Cardinals, especially them losing J.J. Watt as he is going into retirement. But the 49ers walked away with the victory 38-13. I got some breaking news here from the NBA. It looks like Kevin Durant is going to be out with a sprained ankle. He had to get he had to go get an MRI done. The Seahawks beat the Rams. God damn you, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was my quarterback in my fantasy football league. All I needed for him to do was actually score, and he did nothing. He shitted the bed. The Seahawks beat the Rams 19-16. The Cowboys losing by 20 to the Washington Commanders is one of the atrocious games that I've seen all of Sunday, besides watching the Miami game. And once again, the Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 20-16. This was the last week for fantasy football. So if you are a fantasy football guy like myself, let us know in the chat whether or not did you win your fantasy football league or did you lose like me. I came in second place because of my team. Let's see. Tyreek Hill and Baker Mayfield shitted the bed, and so did Ezekiel Elliott. They all three guys shitted the bed, and I lost my fantasy football. A lot of revamping is going to happen next year in fantasy football for me, especially with these guys, because they were clutch throughout the season, and when it came to the end, they shitted the bed like they always do. He's got to stop hugging all those guys like that. I'm going back into the chat now. Daniel says he has to stop hugging those guys like that. I guess we're talking about Tony Khan. David Hall says, it's bad when Vince McMahon won't go down gracefully. He wants to drag WWE company down to hell with him. You know what? I think he's just more of he wants to get as much money as possible. We already know that Vince McMahon is a greedy guy. Daniel goes and says that Daniel Sanders is going to be Washington's been bad under his ownership. Fly Guy, he says, hey, everyone, thanks for the invite. Yeah, well, welcome on in. So then let's go back and let's check out this wild card matchup now for the NFL. So we got the Ravens taking on the Bengals. We got Miami taking on Buffalo. We have the Chargers taking on the Jaguars, with Kansas City getting a bye. We have the Eagles that has a buy-in. We have Dallas versus the Buccaneers. In the first round, we have the Seahawks taking on the 49ers. And obviously, we have the New York Giants taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Looking at this bracket here, you kind of already tell who's obviously, the Bengals is the odd favorite of going into the Super Bowl. I don't really think that the Baltimore has a really good team right now to take on the Bengals when they're at 100%. So I can definitely see the Bengals moving on to the next round. The Bills are going in there with just pure heart at this point, but they've had an amazing season. I could definitely see them taking over this Miami game and actually winning and moving on to go up against the Bengals. The Jaguars, I don't get how the Jaguars ended up in this situation, but you know what? I can definitely see the Chargers going into this one and coming out victorious. That's going to lead the Chargers going into going up against Kansas City. Kansas City has been really strong. I can see Kansas City just blowing out the Chargers and moving on to the next round. As far as like the Bills and Bengals, they're on my next choice of going into a head-to-head matchup. If the Bills play it smart, they can go on to beat the Bengals, but I think the Bengals defensive team is stronger than the Bills, so I can definitely see the Bills losing to the Bengals and the Bengals moving on. I see having a rematch between the Bengals and Kansas City to go on to the Super Bowl contendership. Giants and Vikings. I love the New York Giants, obviously, because I am a New York guy. I can see them moving on. 49ers and Seahawks, I definitely see the 49ers moving on. And I really don't care for Dallas or Tampa Bay, but we all know how Tom Brady is when it comes to the situations, and Prescott is a fuck up. So I definitely see Tom Brady moving on, but because the Eagles are so strong that once they meet up with the Eagles, I think that's going to be it for Tom Brady, and the Eagles are going to move on to the next round between the 49ers and the New York Giants. If they move on, I definitely see the 49ers moving on. I think they have a way stronger team than the New York Giants, even though that I like the Giants, and if I had to say this, I think the 49ers are going to end up going to the Super Bowl. I know that the Eagles have been having a really great season, but it just takes that one game where you get to see exactly what your team is made of. And I could definitely see the 49ers actually going to the Super Bowl this year. Now, when it comes to the Bengals and Chiefs, that's going to be a toss up there. If I had to pick one right off the bat, closing my eyes, I'm going to say the Bengals. I think the Bengals want to go back to the Super Bowl and do it again. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? If you're going to put the Bengals and the 49ers together for this Super Bowl, I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one. I think that they have a really impressive team. Their offense and defensive teams are amazing. And I could definitely see the 49ers actually walking away with the Super Bowl victory on that one. I will be going live on YouTube and Twitch for the Super Bowl, especially, and we will also be going live as well for the Royal Rumble. So if you guys want to, come in for that one, I will gladly appreciate it because I want to get your input on everyone else. I'm going to send out invitations to people to jump on the live streams to give their predictions of the Royal Rumble and the Super Bowl, just to get their inputs on everything. And what else do we have here? No, I'm not going to end it with this one. So I'm going to go into what are we streaming now? Over the weekend, because I work so much, but over the weekend I sat down and I watched The Menu. The Menu is streaming now on HBO Max. I was waiting for a while because I didn't get the chance to watch this in the movie theaters. I'm glad I got to sit at home and watch The Menu. If you don't know what The Menu is this movie where these rich, entitled people, everyone has a different story in this movie, but it's all based around this one restaurant and this chef that's on this private island that everyone is going to because they heard about the food that he cooks. Each dish goes into someone's life, right? And it also ties into the chef itself, right? So it's kind of weird. Like when you walk in, they, just to give you a little spoiler of the movie, where like one scene is when they're coming into the boat and, they're looking around the island and the lady and one of the hosts is telling them about the menu and how everything is fresh and it's good. And everyone's so excited to be at this restaurant, and then things just start taking a really crazy turn. The chef is more aggressive to a lot of the patrons. The cooks there are just zombied out, right? And then like things just start to escalate as the night goes on. And then at the end, I'm not gonna spoil it, but at the end, something dramatic happens where like me and the person that I was sitting here watching it with, we were just like, what the fuck just happened here, right? So definitely my recommendation for what is streaming online right now is definitely to watch The Menu. If you have the opportunity to sit there, if you have HBO Max, definitely check out The Menu. Let me know what you guys thought about that. And we can discuss this on future episodes of Conversations with Kenny here. And then tonight, the last thing that I'm going to go with before I head up out of here is our Monday Night Raw watch stream. You already know what the premise is. Today is Monday. Every single Monday at 7:30, myself, Toe and Show. We bring you the best 3-man team that we could possibly give you in Monday Night Raw watch-alongs. Not only do we talk about wrestling, but we talk about what we did throughout the week, obviously what we're streaming. We play trivia as well. We have 2 rounds of trivia, one starting at 8:30 and another one starting at 9:30. And then coming next week, which is something that I'm super excited to talk about, we are going to be having a Smack Talk promo battle card game segment that we are adding on to our Monday Night Raw watch streams, where we're going to pick 2 people. We're going to invite them on the show. These 2 people will try and cut the best promos that they can against each other using the Smack Talk card game. We are not sponsored by Smack Talk cards, but we definitely bought it and we thought it was a really great idea. But if you don't want to play, obviously you can sit there and watch, or you could participate, or you can even participate in our trivias. We do give prizes away. Thank you to everyone who participated in the Royal Rumble matchup that's going to happen for Royal Rumble weekend. We're going to have to see who is going to become the winner, and somebody is going to walk away with a mini title. And that is about it. Like I said before, I'm going to clear this out of here now and go back to the, I got AEW Dark, of course. Hassan is in the building. What's going on, Hassan? That is it for me. I'm going to get out of here. I normally just stay on for an hour unless we have other people. Obviously, as the show, as time will go on, hopefully we'll get more people to join the live stream so we can have more conversations. I just normally just go through a couple of topics. We stay on for an hour. If you missed the stream, obviously go on YouTube, check out the replay of the stream. Come back here at 7:30 for the Monday Night Raw watch along / trivia. And that is about it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, let's do a live stream tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. How much, man? How about not much, man? How about you? I'm good. Take care, everyone. Daniel, thank you for stopping in. Hassan, thank you for stopping in. Ashley, the guys from the KOD, BCW World, the guys, everyone here. Hey, Alex over on TikTok, Dad316, and everyone else who decided to stop in and listen to me rant. I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time, I am out of here.